We don't get a lot of time before school to go through some of the small changes that we'll be making to start the year. So I want to take the opportunity to put out a few videos that can be references. One of the things that we're going to be changing is the way that we record behaviors. I think Dr. Blake explained it to the new teachers today in a really succinct way, saying that she wants you all to give me the ammo to back up any behavior-based decisions that we make in the classroom. We all know that anything entered into Harmony is immediately viewable by parents. We also know that I don't necessarily see what you're entering on the classroom level. Now, all of that might not be relevant, but I do want to be able to be aware of it and be able to use that as actionable data in some of the decisions that we're making. So we're going to enter our referrals this year in SWIS. Petersburg does something similar. They have teachers enter it on a Google form. What SWIS does is it allows us to aggregate the data and then disaggregate the data in ways that we can make decisions and plan as an RTI team or as a grade level team to design interventions for those students. So if we look at, take a look at the SWIS here, we're going to go through kind of the basics of it and then mostly talk about how to enter a referral here. We'll get in a little bit later and talk about some of the things that you can do to look deeper into the data, but let's focus on the immediate things that you're going to use in SWIS. So there's two areas that are really key. One is in the top corner here. You're going to see the login there. I think that is absolutely key. It's kind of in a weird place, so I want to make sure that you can see where it's at there. You'll click on that. It'll be your email address, and then it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 initially, and then you're going to change it to whatever you want. I recommend switching it to just whatever you use for your email login. That makes it pretty easy. Now, it should populate to the app, but if it doesn't, I'm going to zoom in here, and you can see SWIS Suite up there. You may have to click on that if it doesn't go to the landing page. It should, again. Sometimes it doesn't, as we know with technology. Click on that. It'll get you to where you need to go. Okay. Once you're in, this is the page that you're going to see. Now, initially, we can see there isn't any referral data right here. However, once we start entering, these will be pre-generated graphs with, again, actionable information by location, student, grade level, time of the day of the week, all that stuff. But what you're going to use initially is just add a referral. So you'll click on that button right there. It'll pop up this, and then it looks almost identical to what you're already doing in Harmony. Your choice instead of office or classroom will be major or minor. And there's a behavior matrix that I put into the teacher binder. We're going to need to work this year to create our own, one that we can take ownership of and that everybody feels comfortable with, being what's office managed and what's classroom managed. That's just a reference guide right now. If you're unsure, you can ask me or a mentor teacher, and when in doubt, send it for review. That's the nice thing, again, about this system is that you have the opportunity to send it for review, and we can have that discussion later. It's all right. It's not going straight out to the public. The student name, you just start typing, and it'll auto-generate there. You get the date and time already pre-populated. You can obviously adjust those later. Staff name, again, you'll just start typing. Some of that information will already be in there as well. Then at the bottom, you'll see a couple of different things. Probably the biggest difference is the perceived motivation. Let's give an example of a student who's attention seeking. We may want to design an intervention then that gives that student more positive attention for the good things that they're doing. So check-in, check-out's an example of an intervention like that, where the student is getting attention for the good things that they're doing and not for the negative behaviors. And hopefully over time we see those negative attention-seeking behaviors diminish. All right, let's take a look at a couple of the other. So that goes back to the perceived motivation. Sorry, you're choosing then attention seeking or your best guess on why that you're seeing that negative behavior in your classroom. We aggregate that and can design interventions based on that. Here's a couple other small differences at the bottom. You can see here, you're always going to want to click send to default reviewer. That's going to be me. So I'll be able to see that. I get an email notification when you send in a referral. Just keeps me a kind of aware and accountable to what behaviors are happening throughout the building. You can click send for review. And if you need to copy it and there's a couple kids involved, you can click there and hit and copy. And then you don't have to redo all the information again. It'll copy as much as it can, and you just make the changes like to the student name or maybe the behavior that you saw. Now you can also, if you want to just document it for your classroom, you can add that referral and save it as complete. Now, if you save it as complete, I won't get the notification. So that is just something, let's say an example would be at the beginning of the year here, I want to document that I called home on Johnny or Susie and that I'm seeing this behavior. I don't feel like I want to have any contact with the office as of yet, but I do want to show that I've made contact with parents and we're working on that behavior. This gives you the opportunity to document it still. It won't go out. This is just there. We'll still end up putting it in Harmony later, but it may not be something that I see right away. We'll see it in the daily kind of rundown, but not in that initial like email notification. Just a little more kind of philosophy about classroom management. Again, that positive attention that I've seen so much of already, and the couple times I've been into classrooms here at Winslow. Seating arrangements obviously are dictated a little bit by the pandemic still, but my biggest thing here is just making sure that you're able to get quickly to any student in the classroom to utilize those behavior strategies like proximity or non-contingent, a conversation with a student, a quick correction, a signal with a student, anything like that could help them get back on task. Triggering is one of those things that, again, elementary teachers have this in spades a lot of times. My mom used to use a bell in her classroom where she would ring the bell. That meant time to transition to a new activity, or that voice level came down to 0. Whatever it was, the students were aware of the certain sounds that she had. Those were her triggers. Now, you can also use signals like the silent signal that you'll see me using where hand is up. That means your voice is off. I think those are really effective ways of managing behavior. Really like those. You'll see me using this one a lot with students. Think about it. Gives them that trigger to use their skills to manage their behavior. Sponge activities are those things for our high ability students. They can sometimes pull students who are not as motivated off task if they finish early. So giving students that opportunity to work on something once they're finished with the independent practice. And then the student connections. I'll have a link to the document that I've created. A lot of times you guys have stuff that you're already doing, but forming those relationships with students and getting to know them, things about them is what's going to make the difference and the reason that they listen and the reason that you all do so well with this.